Okay, let's see what we got here. BuzzCutPsycho says, Battle of the Billionaires, Star Citizen, Ashes of Creation, and your money. Can I just say before we even start this video, as I will, your money it's not in jeopardy unless you put it in jeopardy. Okay. You have control of your money. Let me just say this again so that we understand that people are not victims. You have control of your money. Now, I don't know what BuzzCut's going to say here. Okay. But let me just tell you, you are not a victim unless you put yourself in a situation where you're a victim. Okay. People that are going to, and I don't know if BuzzCut's going to say anything like this, but I've heard a narrative out there where people get their money completely sucked by a large vacuum cleaner hose from Cloud Imperium. And Cloud Imperium has this new device that's like a 1,000-yard vacuum hose cleaner that like magically, sneakily steals your money. I'm sure BuzzCut is going to hit this pretty fucking rational because most of the things I've seen from BuzzCut, he kind of reminds me of like almost a hardcore noobifier. Noobifier is pretty hardcore, man. So like, I feel like this would be Noob's kid. You know what I mean? Thank you, Hugh. Thank you. And I feel that you guys feel me on that comment. Like Noob Jr. if he took a lot of roids, you know? No offense, Buzz. No offense. I'm just teasing, man. Let's see. Yeah, because God knows I don't need him on my bad side, dude. I got enough shit going on in my life. All right, Buzz. Let's see what you have to say about this.
Over the last decade, I seem to have developed a very bad habit of donating my hard-earned middle-class wages to fund the dreams of millionaires. These two millionaires are, of course, Chris Roberts and Steven.
It's not just the dreams of the millionaires. It's also my dream. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted a fucking game where I could fly in fucking spaceships, walk around in them like the Millennium Falcon, do cool ass shit in space that I'd never have the opportunity to have. Like, fuck the Mile High Club. Let's talk about the Out of This World Club. You know what I'm saying? Ha! A lot of RP going on there.
Sharif. And the dreams are Star Citizen and Ashes of Creation. I must admit that I share a lot of the dreams that both of these projects represent and have observed over the years a very interesting dynamic. One is considered a scam and the other is not. Why is that? Is it because it has become fashionable to hate Star Citizen and secretly or not so secretly hope for its failure? Whereas
it's because there's so many content creators that go out for that easy clickbait where they go for that hate bait. I saw this dude doing videos. Every single video he does, it's just like a fucking hater bait video. His name is Gem Reviews. I don't know if you're familiar with this guy. I almost don't want to say his name and promote the guy just by saying his name, but like a lot of his videos are just like, just all it is trash. Right. Like every single video, there's something wrong, and it's so obvious. Like the thing to me is like the guy has not one good thing to say, like not one. He must be a horrible person to hang out with at a party. Like that's the guy that you avoid. You're like, oh, hey, Jem, how you doing, man? I'm going over there by the Tostitos, bro. I know where to go in a party. Trust me. It's the place where people are laughing and having a good time. Anyhow, I will say this. People are getting paid off of these videos. You know? People are getting paid off of these videos. They're making hater bait because they're getting paid off of them. There's a lot of people out there like that. I talk about this quite often, actually, and people get upset with me when I talk about this, but it is actually happening out there. This is actually a thing where a lot of content creators, even larger ones, are just doing it for that quick paycheck. I mean, that's just part of it. That's part of the game that I see this being played in the Star Citizen content creator world, and nobody talks about it. Like it's, oh, you can't say that. That's really bad to say. Don't say the obvious. Like everybody fucking knows that's going on, right? It's craziness. So Star Citizen has been around I don't know how Ashes of Creation's been around for or being created for, but I know Star Citizen's over a decade. We're well over a decade now. So you see this, like you see these tranches of content creators that go after the clickbait, that go after the next dramatic thing. And then interestingly enough, some of those same people flip the script and then they go hype mode. And it's, you know, they're going after the dopamine hit and they want to get paid from it. And you can see it. And I talk about that a lot. In fact, expat Brat, who I love, friend of the channel, had some questions, and there's a great video. You can go check it out on the YouTube channel if it's still there. It's an inside joke. And it's me explaining this to expat Brat and her questions. Really love her. Great highlight. It's like a 30-minute highlight where I go through her comments and her questions and kind of just tell her my feelings on the issue. And she tweeted like, hey, it's really cool. DG actually stood up and got in the ring and answered these questions. Of course I do. Of course I do. You know, I love her. Yeah, expat Brad is fucking awesome. And we have differences of opinion, and I disagree with her on some issues, and we're still friends. And isn't that like the definition of being a fucking rational adult? I love that. I have plenty of people in my own chat and in the YouTube comment section where we don't see eye to eye on certain issues. We don't agree on a lot of things, but yet we still come together and have a good time. And that's what I'm trying to endorse here on this channel. It's just like a community of open-minded people that can handle disagreements. It's okay if you don't agree on everything. You can still be friends and have a good life. That needs to be said so much in everything in this world with fucking politics and like dudes. To be a civilized fucking society, you have to be able to disagree and get along with people. Somewhere along the way, it's being taught that like, oh, if you disagree, well, then you got to hate the other fucking person and crush them. Like, no, compromise, man, compromise. In cases where there aren't compromise, well, shit, then you got a problem. You got to talk it out more. You know, follow expat Brat, by the way. Thank you for that. And also, if you can do Ferrister as well, thank you so much, my mods. Shouting out expat Brat, Ferrister, Erad. Go over to their channels. Everybody live right now. Just check them out and follow them. Really good. Really, this man right here, Ferrister. Check him out. Awesome. And just please do. They're great people. They're awesome people. I love the content creators come here and discuss things. It's such a great forum. Anyway, let's keep going.
As the same cannot be said for Ashes of Creation. Let's explore the two products, the recent drama surrounding both, and I'll tell you what I think. This channel is built around Star Citizen, and it remains the game I have the most faith in. Granted, it wavers at times, and my spending does not prevent me from being very critical of the product. But with the recent news of the 4.0 delay, which is now scheduled for Q4 of this year, a date which I doubt it will make, by the way, the game is once again being called Scam Citizen, and the haters are rejoicing with the "I told you so's" all over the internet. Those people are, of course, stupid, and thinking Star Citizen is a scam is a...
That's such a noobifier thing. I love, like, that's why I call him Noob Junior, man. Like, he's fucking, this is exactly like when Noobifier comes in, he talks like this. He just recently fucking posted a clip of me on Twitch here, and it's the funniest fucking clip. I was in the middle of a brain fart, and it was the worst explanation of server meshing I've ever heard in my entire life, and it was myself saying it, and Noob fucking clipped it, and I love him for it. I fucking love Noob for that, man. He's like, here you go, DG. Here's an amazing highlight from your stream while I was here. Genius mode fucking clip, man.
Pretty smooth-brained take on the project. How could it be a scam? It is playable to a degree, though not very good. The cost to buy in and pledge is a mere $40, which is much cheaper than the usual gamer slop that comes out these days.
Thank you, Daft.
So,
thank you for that. Way to go,
Star Citizen
Supermod.
isn't a scam. It is certainly a mismanaged project, a bad game in its current form, and is struggling to find its way and perhaps adhering too much to a design which isn't feasible in a modern age of gaming. Many of those issues I have covered in previous videos, and many more I will cover in upcoming videos.
Man, the jazzy music's made me kind of sleepy though. Like that, my constructive criticism is just like, you know, like I get it. He's just having like a talk right now about Billionaires, so he's putting like some jazzy piano in the background. But shit, watch out. I'm starting to be like,
a bad game, yes. A scam, no. SIG is very transparent with their funding.
Oh, are they?
Every year we get a graph that represents what they have earned. Every week or so, we get an ISC episode that covers what is coming. Developers are very open on public forums and private discords. Not my Discord, of course, and I don't think SIG could handle being in ours, but they are on public discords nonetheless. The good and the bad for Star Citizen are very publicly visible and openly acknowledged by the company. So, again, why the hate? Why is it called a scam? I think a lot of it boils down to a few things. The first is the length of development. This thing is over a decade old now, and it isn't even close to being released. Does that make it a scam? No. It just makes it a mismanaged project with endless feature creep. The second is the sheer amount of money the product has raised. Almost $1 billion total now, possibly being the most expensive game ever made, or coming close to it. When people see numbers like that, but then see the game in its current state, their default mid-wit reaction is to call it a scam. Again, the amount raised for what we currently have does not make it a scam, but rather a bad game. The third and final reason why people call it a scam, why it receives so much hate, and why people wish for its failure comes down to the community. A lot of the most vocal supporters of Star Citizen are the most brainwashed, out-of-touch idiots you may ever encounter in the gaming world. These people will take any valid criticism and write it off as, well, it's pre-alpha. These clowns will take any...
Yeah, that whole pre-alpha excuse is terrible, man. Like, you know, it is an alpha, though. Like that, you know, like you just can't get around the fucking facts of it, even though it's fucking ridiculous. You know, it's fucking ridiculous. I do not want to ever fall back on that it's an alpha. Sometimes, once in a blue moon, I fucking do that, and I can't stand that I do that because it's like, come on already.
Improvement or compromise made by SIG in order to get this project moving forward as selling out or insulting the original backers, which, by the way, are an absolute minority compared to the current post-Kickstarter backers. Either way you cut it.
Well, we already know that because of master modes. We already know that there's very few veterans left at this point. Me and a handful of others in this chat right now, and probably watching on YouTube. There's a small amount left. You know, I would imagine that's a true statement. I would imagine that's a true statement after all the ups and downs. You got to be fucking hardcore if you're still standing here, man. You got to be fucking hardcore.
A lot of the Star Citizen cultists are the most unlikable, annoying, and downright stupid people you will ever meet. And when encountering such insufferable simps like that, you cannot help but want to see what they care so much about fail.
Wow. He's the type of dude who likes to watch shit burn. That's interesting. He's very aptly named BuzzCutPsycho, dude. He wants to watch the fucking world burn. I don't know if he wants to set that match on there. You know, maybe he's not the guy who wants to put the spark down, you know, but like he definitely would be one that would just sit and watch it and laugh like this. Like he just kind of like, it would just burn. I mean, man, woo, evil.
Ashes of Creation is a project that I backed in the beginning. Friends of mine from what used to be SOE got me involved in the Kickstarter, and I decided I wanted to throw my cash in to get it off the ground. I was one of the highest tier backers. I think it cost me around $3,000. I was a believer, and I have friends who work at Intrepid Studios, so I wanted to help out in whatever way I could. I followed very closely and could not wait for the game to come out. As time went on, however, I started to see cracks in the wall. The game looked more and more like a disaster. Of course, my $3,000 didn't give me or anyone really good access for testing purposes, and for the majority of us, the first test we could do for the game was a train wreck known as Apocalypse, which was a battle royale designed to test the game. This Battle Royale was, of course, monetized and played like a third-person shooter and not an MMORPG that we all backed. I and many others were furious. So furious that I personally gave Steven Sharif a piece of my mind. Somebody in that meeting happened to record the entire meeting and upload it to YouTube. I decided to clip the relevant parts and cut out some profanity, but I will give a link to the full video in both the description and on screen.
Okay. Alpha Zero was a much bigger system for sure, but it wasn't using the new architecture that we had. And in order to update Alpha Zero to basically utilize that new infrastructure, that's creating Alpha 1. And the timeline to get Alpha 1 up and running was a timeline that was far more considerable than the timeline it would take to get the Battle Royale testing the certain fundamental features that apply to the technology behind making Alpha 1 possible, which is again why we decided to go that route.
Do you see yet why this was a fucking giant disaster yet? Like, are you like actually, cognitive of what happened with Battle Royale?
I view the Battle Royale as successful in the sense that it gave us the necessary information to adjust and fix some architecture that was necessary to move forward with Alpha 1.
I've never played a game or tested a game where there was a game mode or version of the game that was not going to be included in the primary game. From every MMO I've played, from Planetside 1, Dark Age of Camelot, you name it, if I ever tested those, all right, I've never had this game mode that wasn't there. So when people see this, bullshit, shut up with that. That's nonsense. Okay. Right? So it's how many times have changed. This is like loading up World of Warcraft, and you're playing some mini game instead of doing quests in North Shore Abbey. Sure. There was nothing here that was built on that says this is going to be an MMO game. And I don't care about the monetization or the delays. I don't give a fuck about that. But what I'm talking about here is the perception that I have. I could tell you, I could speak for over 1,000 people in our guild that were looking at your game here. Everybody thinks your game is complete based on that Battle Royale. And that's fine, but hold on. Based on that Battle Royale, okay? Now, if there was something there...
This is BuzzCut talking to one of the devs, man. I love this shit, man. No other interviews were ever given to BuzzCut again. This was his last. Dude, this is fucking awesome. Someone needs a hug.
Classes, basic foundations of what the game is going to be to build upon.
He's upset.
Things would have been a lot different. I'm not going to pretend like I have inside knowledge or know your development. I get that.
But what I'm telling you,
from somebody who did back the game and has a lot of guys who want to play it, it stinks like and seeing it and seeing this like no classes, no nothing, and then saying, well, this is not representative of the final product, then brother, why the fuck is it even there?
As you can probably tell, I was calling bull on a supposed test, which was fully monetized and never developed upon further. Shockingly, this was not enough to get the internet world calling AOC a scam. At least not to the levels of Star Citizen. If anything, up until very recently with the drama of them selling alpha access, people considered this game to be the next big thing. You had gaming grifters masquerading as developers such as Asmongold, telling his legion of mindless drones that this was the next big MMO ever. You had that AstroTurf Nepo baby furry Maldavius fig tree, excuse me, pirate software, telling his yiffing followers that AOC was going to be the game we've all been dreaming of. Just prior to that, both of those clowns were dumping on Star Citizen and calling it a scam, or preying upon the emotions of the gullible by calling SIG's business practices predatory and disgusting, which I think is very appropriate words coming from somebody like Pirate Software, who is most likely very familiar with being both predatory and disgusting. That has slightly changed now with the aforementioned drama surrounding Alpha Access being sold. But the apology tour of Steven Sharif and Intrepid Studios has started, and now all is forgiven. Once again, the unwashed masses on Reddit gather together, hold hands, and proclaim, "We did it! They're listening!" When less than a month prior, Intrepid really thought that selling limited time alpha access to a game was a good idea. Gamers truly are the most stupid people on earth, and quite possibly the worst consumers, on par with or just slightly behind people who watch superhero movies. The biggest thing I feel like most people who get worked up over any company monetizing things forget is that games are expensive. Bandwidth isn't cheap. Nothing in this world is free. Both of these companies, in particular, are free from publishers and big investors, and, as a result, must come up with ways to shake down their most devoted fans for their hard-earned money so that these millionaires can see their dreams come true. And maybe our dreams too. Do any of you ever stop to think about how much it costs to run a company? Not just a gaming company, but any size.
Dude, thank you. Thank you. Not a lot of content creators focus on the actual business side of things. They don't. They just simply don't. A lot of content creators don't actually talk about real world game development, costs, revenues. They don't understand anything about how to run a business. None of them can look at numbers and decipher what they're looking at. It's like they're trying to read Egyptian. Like they don't know what they're looking at. They might as well be just fucking symbols on a wall inside a cave for all they know, right? And then they give their opinions about how the fucking game needs to be developed, and they don't even fucking understand like business 101. So many out there that try to be like professionals and they like listen to me and my opinions, and they have no fucking idea what's actually going on inside the company. It's crazy. He is spot on with this. He is fucking spot on with this. Here's the thing with BuzzCut's style. It's like he's very abrasive. I personally like it. I dig people that just like, whether they're right or they're wrong, I do appreciate when somebody kind of goes out and just like fucking gets aggressive. I don't know. It's a PvPer in me. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. Doesn't mean the message is always correct, though. Okay, like that's something important. Like that's some people get that shit twisted. Like when somebody's kind of like going off very like abrasive like this, and people gravitate to that. They're like, oh shit, you know what's going on. Don't always think that those people are right. Okay, that's the trap there. But I will say this in this instance, on this point with this commentary, he is spot on here, like spot fucking on.
Sizable company, you have employee salaries and all of the expenses that come along with those employees. I know. You have to pay contractors. You have to pay for the studio, the property the studio is on, and perhaps even rental fees.
Yep, Jammo.
You are subject to taxes and expenses associated with just having a company in general.
Yeah,
none of this is cheap.
It's fucking
and when
expensive.
you add on top of it a constant running service, you are now paying for servers and bandwidth to keep the services you pay the one-day charge for running. These are reasons why MMOs of old used to have subscription fees. Yep. Ironically, the same people who will complain about a $15 a month sub are the same people who will spend $100 or more on the next COD game, or pay $50 or more a month on various streaming services for entertainment. They're all
crazy. He's so right. And you know what? Subscription models nowadays, a lot of people don't even sign up if they see subscription. Just look at fucking Nova Quark's Dual Universe. Great idea, wonderful creator. The CEO I'm speaking of, who ended up quitting, and when he quit, heart went right out. Fucking game turned to absolute shit. They couldn't afford money for their telemetry anymore. All the telemetric data fucking overwhelmed their servers, and the load was too much. They had to cut out a lot of core features and mechanics in Dual Universe that made the game fun, like mining, digging, those types of things, because the server had to hold all that telemetric data, and they couldn't afford it because people weren't signing up for the subscription plan. There's very few models out there that have subscription plans that are what I would consider successful, EVE Online being one. There's a couple others out there that have subscription-based models, but for the most part, the gamers, the entire gamer base has pretty much said, oh, if you're a subscription, fuck you. I mean, the majority of gamers have. And yet, like BuzzCut is saying, they will spend like $200 on a fucking ship, which is, I mean, like, if you ask me, that's a mind fuck right there. That's just like what? You know, it's just, that is like brain dead to me. But and unfortunately, that type of mentality is the mentality that fucking is on Reddit, where They won't pay for the subscription models, but they will pay for the $200 ship. But people stay away from subscription models. I mean, I have to admit, so have I. I don't want to have to deal with it, you know? So in forms of the way that the pay model is presented, I would say subscription models have less of a probability of the title making it, just based off of my personal experience with titles and game devs out there, right? See you, Ferrister. Have a great day, and thanks for stopping by, bro. We love you. We love you. Go over there. Go to Ferrister's channel. Go subscribe to him. Awesome English gentleman. Absolutely adore the man.
Also the same people who will spend an exorbitant amount of money on DoorDash instead of going shopping for groceries and preparing a meal for a fraction of the cost. The bottom line is that they're
All
stupid.
right, Dinah, see you, bro.
And you'll hear me call people stupid a lot. And that is because a lot of people are, in fact,
Thank you, Daft.
stupid. So it works out. If you followed this channel or listened to my videos, you may have heard the absolute disgust I have for most modern gamers. And it is because I've witnessed a decline in their collective cognitive abilities over the years.
Yeah.
If Star Citizen or Ashes of Creation did not monetize something, there would be no game for us to play. And sometimes I do not think people understand that. Money is also something that everyone understands, and big numbers often confuse the simple minds of gamers. But I can tell you that whatever revenue either Star Citizen or Ashes of Creation generates through whatever practices they see fit is just enough to keep the project going. No matter what your favorite YouTube grifter tells you, in the grand scheme of things, the amount of money these two projects raise is not a whole lot when you factor in the expenses I mentioned at the start of this segment. Star Citizen has, without a shadow of a doubt, the best monetization scheme from both a profit standpoint and consumer standpoint.
Right.
The barrier of entry to test this barely functioning game is a mere $40. You can log in whenever you want, 24/7, and experience a disaster at your leisure. Sure, you won't have fun, and you may feel ripped off, but you'll get your money's worth and take comfort in knowing that your pitiful contribution helped put another meal on Chris Roberts' table. Ashes of Creation, on the other hand, is without a doubt the worst I have ever seen. You can spend hundreds of dollars to buy hideous-looking skins. Look at this.
Yeah, like this is the other thing I don't understand about Ashes of Creation, and I actually talked about this. Hold on a second. Like, I actually talked about this when we watched the Asmongold video, talking about how AOC and the developers of AOC were developing the dynamic server mesh. And we went over that and we compared the dynamic server mesh they're working on versus Star Citizen's. You guys remember that? I think it was about a month or so ago. It did fairly well as a highlight. And I explained the differences between the two dynamic server meshes between AOC and Star Citizen, and how AOC's dynamic server mesh was more like this expanding and contracting grid, if you will, of servers. Whereas Cloud Imperium's way or approach on how they're trying to get this tech done is an intelligent means in which network engineering takes multiple servers and locates them in areas around the largest traffic hubs that there are, player population centers, so that it tries to make it seamless. And the tests were done last night. We watched Ali. We watched, who else did we watch? We watched a couple people last night's stream testing, because they had like a real large test last night, and I love that that's happening and that work is happening. But what I mentioned is like, I'm not too impressed with AOC's fucking look. I'm just not. You know, like this reminds me of something from early 2000s, like the graphics and all this is very early, kind of like early 2000-ish vibe, you know? So I don't know if you can even compare the two, right? But he is right in a way. It seems like nobody's calling AOC a scam compared to Star Citizen. Like you hear, like he's right. It is fashionable to call Star Citizen a scam still to this day, even after the 1,000 employees, even after the work that they've shown, even after weekly transparent videos of Star Citizen Live and Inside Star Citizen and all these updates that they're giving to the fans, which is beyond the shadow of a doubt, the most I've ever seen from any developer. And as it should be, because it's fan funded, right? But like they're putting so much effort into keeping people tuned in or trying to, and also trying to keep things under wraps at the same time. That I don't see AOC doing the same thing personally. I don't. But I'm not really impressed with what it is that I see from it. I'm just not.
Hundreds of dollars to buy hideous looking skins. Look at this Blue Otter, for example. None of these skins are available, and there is no game to log into or play. You can also purchase alpha access to test yet another generic fantasy MMORPG during certain limited time frames in the future, or you could be like me and have spent $3,000 almost 10 years ago to yell at Steven Sharif in a public Discord. I think I got my money's worth. The bottom line is not only is Star Citizen's backer program far more generous to the consumer, I didn't even mention melting, upgrading, buying back, or anything else. But it also does an amazing job of making you feel like you own something. You genuinely feel like you own the ship you buy. It comes with your own serial number. You can name some of them. They have quote-unquote lifetime insurance, and they just overall feel like yours. You own it. It's brilliant, and SIG nailed it.
That's awesome, Java.
It works on all of us. It has worked on me so well that in 3 years, I managed to become a Legatus tier backer. Ashes of Creation, on the other hand, gives you some AliExpress tier concept skins and a Blue Otter, and maybe some time-limited alpha access. Do I really need to elaborate more? Both games are backer-funded millionaire dreams, and both are likely to never meet expectations. It is just much more fashionable to hate on Star Citizen, and Ashes of Creation has the support of mega content creators, one of which is a degenerate furry, and they drive public opinion. Star Citizen, though, to me, is the most unique of the two and has been shaping up to be a much better product in the long run. In future videos, I am going to be addressing more of the issues I see with SC.
The thing is with the jazz music in the background is that sometimes I find it so soothing. I want to kind of take a nap, and at other times I'm kind of like, yeah, man. Coop says, I love the like jazz ambiance going behind this in the music bit. Cool.
And some in particular that I think will be holding it back from wider success. One of the issues is shared by both SC and AOC. And no, I will not likely be doing any AOC videos,
we'll get to
but
it.
I may as time goes on if you guys really want me to. As always, let me know what you think in the comments and hop onto our Discord too. We have lots of conversations on there, and I always care what you have to say.
Cool. Hey, man, you know, BuzzCut putting it down his way. I respect his style. I don't always agree with BuzzCut, but in this instance, on some of these issues, yeah. Like, I got to say, man, he had some really good fucking commentary at certain points in this, and keep doing what you do, man. He's also very vocal with master modes, and I know he generally disagrees a lot with somebody else we watch here called Avenger 1. So, I mean, like, you got to love the kind of dynamic of the Avenger 1 BuzzCut thing, the interplay going on with master modes. And why shouldn't master modes be very, very highly contested? It should be. It's a change in function on flight dynamics. So, of course, you're going to have the PvP community I should talk about that. I have got a lot to say about it, but let's just keep going. Let's keep going.